Over the past few months, I have been binging through Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archive, which is his magnum opus, this big epic fantasy series that's just so well crafted. And now, after finishing Wind and Truth, I kind of miss it a little bit.
There it is right there. I literally just put it on my completed shelf.
So, to say the least, I have been yearning for more of Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. Along the way, while looking for more Stormlight books, I picked up these two novels, Elantris and Warbreaker. Pretty short Cosmere books, and Elantris in particular is a very unique story because it is Brandon Sanderson's first publication ever, as well as the first entry to the Cosmere. Before all of this, there was this. Oops. With Elantris being Brandon Sanderson's first ever publication, I am super excited to see where his different writing tropes and overall writing style has come from and how it has evolved from his first publication all the way to his latest publication in Wind and Truth. Also, it's super cool to see where the Cosmere even began. So let's read Elantris. Elantris surprises me how much it feels like Sanderson's writing from the very beginning of his career. The story is about a once prosperous emerald city that falls due to a disease that makes the once strong, mighty empire into sickly people. I've been loving this self-contained story coming off of the Stormlight archive, and it's great to see that his character writing has been there since the very beginning as he switches between different POVs in this story. Also, speaking of characters, he writes 3 great characters in this book, with all of their different stories woven and interlocked. Raoden is the prince of Arelon, and he gets sick with the disease and is sent to Elantris, and this is where we get all the different information about what's happening inside of Elantris. Saren is another character. I'm also sure that I'm butchering all of these names. Saren is another character. She was supposed to marry Raoden, and upon her arrival, she is told that he is dead. So according to their contract, she still has to stay in the city and become princess, even though Raoden has left. Harathian is also a very interesting character. He's basically in charge of converting the city of Arelon to his religion because he believes that the whole world is going to be destroyed if he doesn't. And he's very manipulative, and Saren already sees that there's something off about him, so she sends her little, I think they're like Sprin, they're these little glowing balls called Scions, I think. Also in the last part that I read, it reveals that Elantrians actually have magical powers still, even after this whole disease. It has a great setup, and I'm very excited to see what happens next.
Wait, hands are dead ass not coordinated.
I will not lie, my bedside table TBR has gotten a little bit crazy lately, but there's just been too many good books. I couldn't pass up on them. I've been really enjoying the kind of science fiction-y elements to this book so far. And I have to say, it really reminds me of the old prequel Star Wars movies. And I'm kind of picturing one of those cities as the old Elantris. It's been really interesting seeing Elantris and how it fell and how it's affected society and how people think of the world. I think that's probably the biggest strength of this book so far and why I've been enjoying it so much. And yeah, it's been very interesting seeing the social dynamics between Elantrians and because this whole book takes place after the fall of Elantris and how that fall affects people and society.
I can't believe I didn't notice this sooner. At each chapter, these aren't just circles, they're actually symbols, and there's a glossary in the back to what each one means. Feels very similar to the Stormlight, where they have each their own little pictures.
Oh, did I miss it?
Oh, your toy kind of looks like the wheel of time. Can you believe it?
What just happened? I just now finished part 2 of the book, and Harathian at the very end of this part just drank a vial of poison that he got. I've been really enjoying the story so far. There's been this kind of plot where Serenay has finally entered Elantris and is trying to help Elantris, and that's kind of undermining what Ryodan has been doing in this book and trying to create like a new Elantris. Yeah, it's been kind of fun seeing them. They've been kind of flirting together, which is kind of funny because they're actually married, and Ryodan's actually been going under like a code name called Spirit. Serenay's been having all these emotions where she's like, oh, I'm married, but I still want to be loved, which is, you know, so valid. Serenay's also been very skeptical of the king because she keeps hearing rustling within her walls, and she thinks that the king has been going between these like hidden passageways. Yeah, I am very excited to see what the next 2 parts hold. I also forgot to mention that Galadin, the person that's been showing Ryodan around Elantris, has actually revealed that he is from Elantris and was born in Elantris, which was kind of a crazy little reveal.
Harathian is now an Elantrian because he had his whole transformation. Just kidding, Harathian has been healed now.
No way. Am I reading this right? Serenay is now undergoing the transformation at her wedding. She is currently being re-wed to the new king after the death of the old king, after she confronted the king and found him going into a sewer, and then he goes to prison, and then he kills himself. So now she's being wed to the new king, and now she is undergoing her transformation. What?
I am on the last little home stretch in Elantris, about to get to part 3, and in the morning I will be heading back to New York. It's a video.
Oh, shit.
There is no way.
Cameron when he gets a new book.
Just be able to read the books now. We beanied up.
So it turns out Serenay being an Elantrian was also a trick, and now she has turned back. In Boston for a couple hours, so I'm gonna go check out some bookstores.
That was a pretty cool bookstore back there, but I do not think I am the audience for it. I think it was their opening day, which was kind of cool. It was packed.
This place looks more my speed.
I also just quickly wanted to talk through everything that happened at the end of part 3. Yeah, where do I even start? So Ryodan has basically been gaining magical powers, and he can now kind of transform the way that he looks. So now he looks like he is a normal person. Then basically he sneaks into Serenay's little secret meeting that she's been having, trying to overthrow the king. And he's been listening in. The king finds out, then kills the duke, and then Ryodan basically reveals, oh, I am actually still alive. And Serenay's like, oh, no way, Spirit is Ryodan, which we have known this whole time. And I've been really enjoying that dynamic. It's been so good. I like that they're like, oh, like they don't really realize that Ryodan really only is the one that knows, but Serenay kind of does have this deep connection with him, even though he is his husband, and it kind of shows that this could work between them if all this stuff didn't happen. And then, then you find all this out, and then the end of the chapter, or end of the part, ends with the king being beheaded, as Harathian is basically inquiring all of this and making sure that everything that I just said was true, and then he sees the king being killed. And oh my god, what is going to happen next? Yeah, let's finish this book up. I only have, I don't know, like 50 more pages. So very short part at the end, actually. Kind of crazy. Well, I think Ryodan is officially done for. He has been stabbed through, like, the stomach. I think he's going into that one state because Elantrians technically can't die. The pain just kind of overtakes him at some certain point. The thing is, I don't know if he's dead just yet. I feel like he's going to come back somehow. I don't know. I have now officially finished Elantris. Man, it was so good. For a first book, that was an excellent ending. Harathian had this whole like redemption arc, and I really enjoyed seeing all that. The last battle was crazy. Ryodan comes back from the dead and becomes a proper Elantrian and figures out how to cure the disease. And yeah, it was epic. It was great. And the only issue now is I really want to read Mistborn because, man, I like this a lot. I don't know. I don't know what I expected from this novel, but somehow it exceeded all of my expectations. I liked it a lot. It was really good. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason online, this book has a stigma associated with it that is lesser than a lot of his other works, which I could not disagree with more. I really enjoyed the self-contained nature of the characters and the setting, as well as the unique concept of Elantrians. They are a very unique and cool concept. After finishing the Stormlight archive, this book felt extremely thoughtful and more creative in its approach and prose. This novel felt very unique to me, and I'm almost tempted to say that I liked it more than the Stormlight archive. Now don't hold me to that. This book feels less heavy and has clearer story arcs, and that's where I think this opinion kind of stems from. I can also definitely see myself rereading this book soon. What makes this story even more incredible is that this was his first ever novel. This was the beginning to his career. Might I say, an excellent start. It shows off a lot of things that come standard to his writing later on, such as using multiple character POVs and showcasing their relationships with one another. Also, just great character writing from the start, and all of the different situations that the characters get put in just complement the story so well. For instance, I really loved in the middle of the book when Sarene runs into Ryodan when they're in Elantris. She has yet to kind of turn into an Elantrian yet. And they kind of have this interaction where there's this kind of deception going on between them where Ryodan has not yet revealed to her who he is. And they kind of have this kind of like awkward kind of talk where you as the reader know what the situation is going on, so you're kind of in the position of Ryodan. And I don't know, that was just kind of a good interaction, and I thought that the setup for that scene was just so good. This is also integrated into the whole theme of the book, which is this importance of information, which is a kind of funny little theme where Elantrians have all these books, and that's what ends up actually solving how to turn the Elantrians back to normal after this whole disease. It was all in the books, kind of, to begin with, and a bunch of Elantrians actually are eating the books, and there's this kind of like, information is important, guys. It's all in the books. You gotta read. You know, Ryodan's smart, so he looks in the books and reads it and figures it all out. The ending is also so poetic, and it works so well with the story, and it's just so satisfying. It also just kind of wraps up perfectly in the end, and even like the last line is just so perfect. There was this little moment near the end of the book where Harathian kind of confesses that he loves Sarene, and basically what she said kind of made him go against the religion. And I thought that was kind of like an interesting little moment. I was not expecting that at all, and I don't know, it was a good little moment. There was also that little appearance of Hoyd that kind of caught me by surprise, and I was like, whoa, whoa. I will say I was a little bit annoyed with how good this book was, because now I really want to read Mistborn, but I feel like I need to diversify a bunch of my readings. I have been reading Sanderson for the past like 3 months, so hopefully soon I think I will read Mistborn, but I gotta take a quick little break. But this book, so good. So surprisingly, a lot of people were very interested in the Tales and Tales book club. So I think next month we will be starting that. I'm not exactly sure how I want to format it yet, because I don't want to feel like I have to rush through books for the book club. So I maybe like every other month we'll do a book club read, or I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But for our first choice will be Piranesi's, and I know that's kind of a basic first one, and I'd like to pick a little bit more obscure books, so if anyone has any recommendations for future books, but to start out, I had this on my shelf and I've been wanting to read it, so this will be our first book to read. In terms of actual logistics, this will be our February book of the month. So at the end of February, I will be posting a video with the little Tales and Tales insignia at the bottom of the thumbnail, where you can watch along and see what I thought about the book, as well as you can interact with me in the comments and talk about what you thought about the book. If anyone's interested, I would also be interested in maybe doing a live stream along with it, where we can all kind of interact and talk about the book. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And if anyone has any other recommendations for future books to read, I'm just trying to diversify my reading at the moment, because I feel like I'm reading a lot of the same stuff. So if anyone has any recommendation, I would love to hear that, and I would love to maybe read something like that. So yeah, I'm super excited to start this, and yeah, I love the logo. Look at the logo, it's so good. Yeah, okay.